Many thanks to @GonnaGoForIt on Twitter for making the introductory animation you see there. Hello, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be taking a look at this video.
Are you more valuable than a dog, or a cat, or for that matter, a tree?
You know what, Prager? This is actually a very interesting conversation that we could have. And I'm glad that you're thinking about it skeptically. Right, Dennis?
One of the biggest differences between Judeo-Christian values and secular values concerns this this issue, the worth of the human being.
All right, Dennis. Judeo-Christian values. Leviticus 19:19. Do not wear clothing woven of two kinds of material. Polyester and cotton, Dennis, are two different kinds of material, and you're wearing them. Verse 27. Do not cut the hair at the sides of your head, or clip off the edges of your beard. How interesting that you have done both of those, Dennis. How interesting. 1 Timothy 2:12. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet.
Here's one more thing I learned. Putting oneself first is the essence of privilege, but putting oneself first does not develop character or lead to personal growth.
So Dennis, remember that video? Why is it on your channel? Why are you permitting a woman to speak rather than requiring her to remain silent? I do not understand, Dennis. If you don't want to follow your own biblical rules, why should I?
According to the Judeo-Christian value system, human beings are infinitely valuable.
Let's take a look at Leviticus 27, starting with verse 1. The Lord said to Moses, Speak to the Israelites. Say to them, if anyone makes a special vow to dedicate a person to the Lord by giving the equivalent value, set the value of a man between the ages of 20 and 60 at 50. For a female, set her value at 30. For a person between the ages of 5 and 20, set the value of a male at 20 and of a female at 10. For a person between 1 month and 5 years, set the value of a male at 5 and that of a female at 3. For a person 60 years old or more, set the value of a male at 15 and of a female at 10. Although, if anyone making the vow is too poor to pay that amount, the person being dedicated is to be presented to the priest, who will set the value according to what the one making the vow can afford. So you're wrong, Dennis. Women are worth considerably less than men, and the priest can actually decide whether or not Moses was correct, not your God. Again, if you don't believe this, why do you expect that I would?
On the other hand, secular humanism devalues the worth of humans.
Since you do so love the Constitution and all of the related documents, let me remind you of this block of text from the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. So according to your Bible, that is wrong, and you're saying the secular values are incorrect, but you're promoting secular values. Skipping ahead a little bit. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government. That's saying that we don't believe that women are worth half as much anymore, and we're getting rid of that government. Do you understand yet, Dennis? These are secular principles you're pushing in the first place.
As ironic as it may sound, the God-based Judeo-Christian value system renders humans infinitely more valuable than any humanistic value system.
Let's take a look at Exodus 21. We're going to skip most of it where it says that I can buy slaves and people aren't always equally worthy. And we're going to go to the part where it says, if a bull gores a man or woman to death, the bull is to be stoned and its meat must not be eaten, but the owner of the bull will not be held responsible. Let's go to verse 33. If anyone uncovers a pit or digs one and fails to cover it, and an ox or donkey falls into it, the one who opened the pit must pay the owner for the loss and take the dead animal in exchange. So, if your animal kills someone, you have no punishment. If you kill someone's animal, you have to be punished for it. And you're telling me that all humans are more valuable than all animals, according to the Bible. You are wrong.
The reason is simple. If there is no God, human beings are only material beings, and therefore not worth anything beyond the matter of which they are composed.
Think back to that passage a little while ago about how men and women are worth pieces of silver, literally in the eyes of God, and that women are worth fewer of them. But praise Jesus, am I right?
But in the Judeo-Christian system, human beings are created in the image of God, meaning that human life is sacred. In other words, we are either created in the image of carbon atoms, and therefore not worth much more than carbon.
Someday you will die somehow, and something's gonna steal your carbon.
Or we are created in the image of God, and therefore infinitely valuable.
But what we have here is a couple things. The first is an appeal to emotion fallacy, which is what you saw if you were watching my live stream last time that Eve Kaninen was talking about, such that if there is no God, then we're not worth anything, and that feels really bad to me, so God must exist and it must be my God. There's also the false dichotomy saying it can only be his God, or it can only be the way we observe it. I would say it's only the way we observe it, but he discredits all the other gods as well, and that's why it is a false dichotomy. It could be any of them. And he has given us no compelling reason why his exists, only that he wants it to exist.
Our secular post-Judeo-Christian society has rendered human beings less significant than at any time in Western history.
Deuteronomy 13:13 says to kill the village if there is just one dissident who worships another god. But you say that all people are equal and you don't agree, though you think Judeo-Christianity's the way to be. So silence the women with their values, don't let them teach in the schools. Humans are equal and infinitely valuable, but not to your God, you fool.
First, the secular denial that human beings are created in God's image has led to humans increasingly being equated with animals.
Let us remember that most women, most slaves, and most cattle and other livestock were all commensurate in the Bible. You could buy them, you could sell them. Most humans were not infinitely valuable, as we have discussed. It is only through the secular, I guess if you want to call it that, application of law, that we decided these things were bad.
That's why, over the course of 30 years of asking high school and college students if they would first try to save their dog or a stranger, 2/3 have always voted against the person.
Hey, look at that. I can put my real face in a video. Hooray! Alright, anyway, we're taking a look at the blog from Dennis Prager. And the first part here is just an argument from anecdote. It doesn't tell us whether the guy is, Christian or not. It just tells us that he done something. Since the 1970s, he says, he has asked students if they would first try to save their drowning dog or a drowning stranger. Right? So that's different than what you just told us in the video. You said a person or a dog. In 40 years, I have received the same result. 1/3 vote for their dog, 1/3 vote for the stranger, and 1/3 don't know what they would do.
2/3 have always voted against the person.
Which is different than what you just told us. You told us that other third would definitely go for the dog.
2/3 have always voted against the person.
But now you're telling me they don't know.
2/3 have always voted against the person. 2/3.
Okay?
2/3.
So what you're saying is you're lying.
Judeo-Christian values.
Or not. You're just saying 1/3 of people in general. The majority of people in America are theists.
That's why, over the course of 30 years of asking high school and college students,
are you only asking atheists? No, you don't say that. You just say people. Students. You don't say if they're segregated. You don't have any study you're citing. You're just saying, well, I happen to ask students.
2/3 high school and college students.
Whatever. None of this all crap deals anything at all with whether or not the people in question are Christian or not. Once again, let us be clear. There's no compelling reason to save the stranger first, except for the assertion that human life is infinitely precious, and infinitely more precious than the life of an animal.
They either don't know what they would do, or they actually vote for the dog. And many adults now vote similarly.
See, you done two things there. One of them is a form of inductive logic, which is faulty here. It's just wrong. You don't have a study, you made that stuff up, and now you have no way to go back and make yourself look right by actually getting the information and showing us. You're just saying, oh yeah, I ask people, and it's always exactly the same. No, you, sir, are a liar and a charlatan.
Why? There are two reasons. One is that with the denial of the authority of higher values, such as religious teachings,
that's right, by doing exactly what God told him to, Noah was not engaging in
Judeo-Christian values, people increasingly make moral decisions on the basis of how they feel.
You know, sometimes I feel like ignoring the edicts of God and, wearing whatever I want and letting women teach and be loud and make decisions and not owning slaves and not paying the worth of a person to the priest. Well, I just feel that's wrong and God wouldn't like that. So it certainly can't be something God would want me to do.
And since just about everybody feels more for their dog than for a stranger, many people simply choose the dog.
But I feel that the Bible is the literal word of God, and therefore I should follow every part of it except the parts I don't like. And the parts I feel are wrong, well, God must feel those are wrong too, because I feel they're wrong. This is a wonderful argument, and I'm going to keep using it in every one of my fucking videos.
The other reason is that once you get rid of Judeo-Christian values, there's no reason for elevating human worth over that of an animal.
By picking and choosing which parts of the Bible I want to believe in, I can act morally superior to everyone, even though the only thing stopping me from being the scum of the earth is the fact that I think an old book tells me I shouldn't. I'm not actually a good person. I'm only doing what I think this old book tells me to do, which sounds a lot like a lot of other groups, but don't listen to them. They're not the real ones. I'm the real one. Come to my cult. Don't be at their cult. Come on, guys. You can do it, please.
That's why people estranged from Judeo-Christian values, including many Jews and Christians.
Yeah, like them Jews and Christians that wear the mixed fibers and let the women teach.
Support programs such as Holocaust on Your Plate.
No, the majority of people did not support those advertisements. That's why there was public outcry against them from almost everyone who wasn't part of PETA.
Holocaust on Your Plate is a campaign.
Was past tense, not present. Do you know why it's not anymore? Can you take a guess? I'll bet you can. But it doesn't fit your narrative, so you're going to tell it your way. Because you are so disingenuous you cannot see why you are wrong. I don't like PETA either, in some of the things they do. But if you're going to misrepresent someone anyway, then you're actually worse than they are, or at least as bad. Because they've done exactly the same kind of practices that you're engaging in now. And it's not a good sign when the videos I'm reviewing of you are of you slandering other people.
Developed by the animal rights group People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, that teaches that there is no difference between the barbecuing of chickens in America and the burning of Jews in the Holocaust. Why? Because a human and a chicken are of equal worth.
Not exactly. They believe that the factory farming of animals is akin to the Holocaust. You can't even get your misinformation correct because you're too busy writing your own narrative that doesn't have any real substance.
So too, in a notorious Tucson, Arizona case, a woman screamed to firefighters that her 3 babies were in the burning house. Thinking that the woman's children were trapped inside, the firefighters risked their lives to save the woman's 3 cats.
You know, we can't tell if that lady was Christian or not either because there's no citation, and that's really convenient to your argument, that this lady who is very likely Christian living in Arizona did this.
If you think these 2 examples are either just theoretical, the dog stranger question, or extreme, the Tucson mother of cats,
then let me step right over here to my filing cabinet and show you that they are indeed neither of those things.
Here's an issue that is neither theoretical nor extreme.
Nope, I figured that wasn't going to happen.
More and more people believe, as PETA does, that even if it would lead to a cure for cancer or AIDS, it would be wrong to experiment on animals. In fact, many animal rights advocates believe that even to save a human life, it would be wrong to kill a pig to obtain a heart valve.
Of course, I have fewer scruples than I do logical arguments, and that's why I continue to engage in straw man fallacies, and saying that these are neither theoretical nor extreme, without being able to cite where the information came from.
The 20th century showed vividly what happens to human worth when Judeo-Christian values are abandoned. Nazi Germany and the various communist regimes all rejected Judeo-Christian values.
Let's read a quote from Hitler. Munich, 10th of April, 1923. In the Bible we find the text, "That which is neither hot nor cold will I spew out of my mouth." This utterance of the great Nazarene has kept its profound validity until the present day. Munich, 13th of April, 1923. In the life of nations, what in the last resort decides questions is a kind of judgment court of God. Always before God and the world, the stronger has the right to carry through what he wills. That doesn't sound very Christian to you, Dennis? Let's try this quote from 26th April, 1933. The Catholic Church considered the Jews pestilent for 1,500 years, put them in ghettos, etc., because it recognized the Jews for what they were. I recognize the representatives of this race as pestilent for the state and for the church, and perhaps I am thereby doing Christianity a great service by pushing them out of the schools and public functions. Come on, man. You can say that's atheist all you want, but you're a fucking liar.
And ended up slaughtering the largest number of people in human history.
Yeah, I believe that Hitler killed the most people ever, while also believing that God flooded the earth and killed everyone.
For Nazism, Jews and members of other non-Aryan groups were declared worthless and murdered in the millions. For communists, human worth was determined solely by communist parties, which murdered tens of millions of people.
Let me remind you that we killed quite a few people in the name of the Inquisition and of the Crusades, and of plenty other campaigns against non-believers. But these don't really count because, well, reasons and feels.
Only by rejecting Judeo-Christian values could Nazis declare Jews, Slavs, and others subhuman. And only by rejecting Judeo-Christian values could communist regimes slaughter those they called class enemies. Individual human life meant nothing.
Well, at least Dennis Prager and I can agree on one thing. Violence is not the answer, no matter what some old book says. So with that in mind, if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. If not, you know what to do. Go ahead and leave a comment and tell me what you thought. I know this video is a little longer than normal, and I appreciate you sticking through to the end if you did. And as always, this has been Reverend JR signing off.